every father that his son eclipses his achievements on earth in all ramifications. So a child was born unto the great Benin kingdom, and on October 20th, 2016, he ascended the throne. His Royal Highness Crown Prince Edo Ewuare became the 40th Oba of the Great Benin Kingdom. He adopted the royal title Oba Ewuare II, which according to him came from the time of the Oromia, who came from Ile-Ife to rule over the kingdom after the Ogiso dynasty. In this documentary, Edo Connect will highlight why Edo people worldwide have found a new impetus for rejoicing. We look at the actions and achievements of Oba Ewuare II in his first 100 days as the Oba of Benin. My name is Lace Mamen, and welcome to 100 Days of Oba Ewuare II as the Oba of the Great Benin Kingdom.
I've been opportune to witness the coronations of Oba Ewuare II, and it has been a blessing in the sense that activities of this sort usually take place once in a while in one's life, but I've been opportune to witness two coronations, one of the Oba Erediawan and now Oba Ewuare II.
My name is Taiwo Idemudia, a member of the Oba Ewuare Council in the United Kingdom. The Obanoba comes from a pedigree that is as strong as the best you can get anywhere in the world. We must not forget that his great-great-grandfather, Omanoba Ovonrawen Ogbaisi, was practically the last independent king in Nigeria. It was when the Benin Empire was toppled in 1897, predating the last empire in northern Nigeria, the Sokoto Caliphate, which was toppled in 1903. It was the combination of these two events which led the British government to decide that a united nation called Nigeria will come to be. That was the beginning of the amalgamation of Nigeria in 1940.
Having listened to the coronation speech of the Oba Ewuare II, I was lifted up and inspired by his articulations, his visions for Edo people, and I think by the grace of God, all the visions that he has espoused will help to lift Edo up to the next level.
2 days after the coronation, Oba Ewuare ordered the immediate suspension of Community Development Association in the 7 local government areas of Edo State that constitute the Benin Kingdom. This means all land matters henceforth will now be adjudicated by the Enoge or the Ojionwe and no longer via the CDAs. This will eradicate land ownership fraud, land resale fraud, and other land associated ills we have witnessed in Edo State.
Shortly after the coronation of the Oba, we had his first pronouncement about the abolishment of the Community Development Association. We were thrilled because a lot of us have been victims of this Community Development Association.
The CDA, which has been a nuisance in the communities, even in my own community, because they were disrespecting a lot of the Eniges and the Ojionweres. So they were taking laws into their hands.
Security is very important. Your ability to be free and to carry out enterprises to your will and as you plan is very important for progress. So if this rule, this declaration by Omonoba is backed, with laws from the State House of Assembly with the help of the governor, then people will respect it the more. And those that fail to honor the rules, will be punished as per the laws. That would be very, very important. Cooperation, between the traditional setting and the politicians is very, very important.
In the subsequent meeting he held with the Ojionweres and the Eniges, that from now on, he has an open door policy. If there is a problem in a community, it should first go to the Ojionwere. If it's not sorted out, it should go to the Enoge in that area. If it is not then sorted out, he said very openly, the palace doors are open. Bring your case. It will be sorted out here. What that does, quite honestly, is that one, it creates an aura of authority for these people who had been dispossessed of their authority.
I'm so happy with what he's done so far, especially with the abolishment of the Community Development Association. My sister was a victim of this Community Development Association. She bought land. This land was sold to other people. So when she came to develop the land, the man had the impunity to say to her, you bought it 6 months ago. Why did you not come and develop it? So the land is gone. So the money is gone. And that happened to be in Nigeria then. So I said to the man, what do we do then? He said, well, you have to pay more money to give you land in the different area. That's exactly what we did, because the way he was talking, I thought, if we continue to drag this, we ain't getting nowhere. And I don't want to attract any kind of publicity to my family. So we paid 350,000 more to what we've already given to him. He gave us a separate land. So I'm very happy to hear that he has abolished that. At least one would buy land confidently, knowing that he can come back and develop the land. Nobody's going to take the land off him.
The CDAs were not useful really to our communities. It will help us to develop our communities in agriculture. It will invest, people who are intending to invest.
So some of us have had negative experiences relating to the CDAs. I, in particular, am still fighting the land case now that involves them. I think they've become very notorious in recent times. They were deterring investment coming to areas, and it's also made some of them to become extremely lazy. I visited one of these CDA recently, and there were youths numbering about 50 just sitting in one hall waiting for the next person who is coming to develop a piece of land in their locality. That cannot be good for development. That cannot be good for aspiration. That can really foment problems in the future, because youth should not be encouraged to be lazy. It's also a welcome development because Ojionweres and the Nige rightful position has been restored, respect has been given back to them, and these people traditionally hold high, prestigious, and esteemed positions in our culture.
Since the Oba's coronation, many good things have been happening in Edo State. For example, the land decree, which the Oba has cancelled to make sure that every person that buys a land has authority over the land he buys, and without selling it or reselling it to other people, to second hand, third hand, and so on. It helps the citizens to know exactly what they are doing when they buy a land, knowing fully well that once it's bought, it is their property, and it cannot be transferred to any other person. So in this case, court actions and the bitterness are no more there. So everyone will have rest of mind once something is bought or sold.
For any of us who is from Edo land, we quite understand the menace that the CDAs have considered themselves to, not just in Benin City, but across the state actually, where you have group of young people coming together in the name of community development associations and determining against the laws of the land, actually against the laws of the country, who owns a land and who should not own a land. And even when you have legitimately, according to the law, purchased a piece of land, they come to you when you are ready to build and begin to harass you and your workers. What that does is this: when Edo citizens come in to want to develop their lands, either for industry, for businesses, or for homes, they get discouraged because so many people don't want to get into the loop of being terrorized and money being extracted, from them by these people. And therefore, you have people who own lands and have the means to want to develop them, but will not come to do so because of the activities of these hoodlums, if I may use that word, advisedly. So I think that what the Oba has done in that one fell swoop is to actually open up an opportunity for people, both Edo State citizens and non-citizens, to begin to see an opportunity to actually bring development to the place. And I may also say it's a real opportunity to actually see peaceful coexistence.
Oba Ewuare urges NNPC to do more in the provision of contracts and employments to the people in host communities. On November the 30th, Dr. Maikante Baru, the Group Managing Director of NNPC, visited Oba Ewuare II. He asked the Oba for the protection of corporate facilities from vandals in Edo State. Baru said the support was needed as huge sums of money was being spent to repair the pipelines destroyed by these vandals. The NNPC chief executive also appealed to the Oba to help educate people in areas of oil and gas producing communities. In return, Oba Ewuare urged NNPC to do more in the provision of contracts and employment to people in host communities. The monarch further appealed to NNPC to do more in providing sufficient food for those people.
In his discussions with the group managing director of the NNPC, Dr. Baru, many people will look at it, yes, as an Oba who wants his people to do well. But it's a little bit more than that. Oba Ewuare II was himself a director of the board of one of the subsidiaries of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation. For many years, he was a director in the Integrated Data Services Limited, based in Benin. So he knows the system well. He knows everything about the opportunities corporate entities can bring to bear in their host communities. And the request he made of the NNPC was based on knowledge, based on experience, and based on the fact that he himself has seen the success of such intervention in other places.
NNPC is a big organization which I feel they've not really been contributing much to our communities. And the Obas mentioned some certain issues about NNPC contribution. We really want NNPC to contribute towards the education, towards the development of the communities because of the communities where they operate around the Benin Kingdom. This will also help the communities in the areas which most of the pipelines, the NNPC pipelines, are affecting our agricultural landscapes. And with what our Oba has really done about that regard in discussing the issue of NNPC. I feel like it will be it's a good contribution that the NNPC will help the communities in employment, contributing to education, and giving priority to indigenes of those areas.
When the group managing director of NNPC came to the palace, and the Oba advised them that they should provide more job opportunity for the people in the area affected, and to make sure that they are well catered for, and then more provisions in the area to make sure that people are given employment and so on, so that every opportunity is created for the people of the land. This kind of gesture is something that is good for the whole state once it is practiced or allowed, so that it will reduce tension and pressure on the people, especially the youths, employment and so on. It will do more. And we encourage the NNPC and the company that are operating within the Edo State to create more job opportunity for the people of the land.
The idea of encouraging companies, particularly multinational companies and big companies like NNPC, to take practical actions to develop the community in which they source their resources, in which they operate from, is also a welcome development. That is supposed to be part of their corporate social responsibility. Companies are required or expected to invest in community in which they source their materials, in which they operate from. I think that is also very good. It is also good for the company itself. The companies like NNPCs and all the like should be encouraged to invest in those communities, build skills base in those communities, ensures that there are commercial activities, thriving commercial activities in those communities. At the end of the day, the expectation is that the human resource in those communities are supposed to be part and parcel of where NNPC are bound to recruit from. So it can all be, a plus factors, both for the community themselves and for NNPC. These days, the expectation is that companies should be seen to be interested in the community where they work. And it helps to extend their brand personality. It helps to improve their image in those community. It also helps to protect them in case there are things going wrong. For example, we are aware of some of the things that are happening in Niger Delta region. But if those companies in the Niger Delta region, in my view, had invested sufficiently enough in the community where they operate from, the chances are those things perhaps would not happen the way they are. I think the Oba intervention is a welcome development. We would like to see more of such intervention in other local government. In fact, if it could be extended across Edo State, it will be a plus for everyone. It will be a win-win for everyone. Companies need to be told that they are supposed to invest in the communities where they source their raw materials. That is good practice, good business practice that needs to be encouraged. Oba Ewuare also mentioned about setting up a trust which will help to develop and fund the Benin traditions, particularly in regards to theater productions and relating to language development and so on and so forth. I think these are all welcome development. In fact, he started by sowing a seed, which is also a reality in terms of the way people behave in Nigeria, which goes to show that he's not just willing to talk about issues, he's also very much keen to support his visions with physical cash.
Omonoba has demonstrated a sense of keen leadership and somebody who says exactly what he believes in and exactly what he intends to do. His coronation speech was such that he spoke and he didn't stop there. He set about deliberately bringing that speech into life. So I'm really proud as an Edo son, an Edo citizen, to have someone of Oba Ewuare's capabilities being our royal father. And I pray that his the grace of God on him will not diminish. That the wisdom of God on him and the ancestors will keep increasing, and that his strength will remain ever strong.
Oba Ewuare expresses to the governor his willingness to partner with the state to create industry and jobs. On November the 22nd, the governor, Godwin Obaseki, paid his first official visit to the Oba. During this visit, the Oba expressed his willingness to partner with the state in creating a cluster of industries in the 7 local governments of Edo State with a view to accelerating developments and creating job opportunities for the youths of Edo State.
The expectation across the world is that where we have traditional rulers, the traditional rulers needs to be able to work with whichever government that is in place, whether at local, state, or regional level. There is an encouraging development in Edo State in the sense that the traditional council is seen to be working effectively with the government of the day. I think that is encouraging as well, in the sense that if both bodies are able to work effectively together, the chances are they'll be able to minimize duplications of policies, duplications of policies in actions. And also the traditional rulers being very close to the people would be able to encourage the government of the day and direct them in areas that the needs are of greater demand. So I think that in itself is also very, very encouraging. We're happy to see our Oba working with the government of the day, whether local, state, and federal, to ensure that the positions of the Beninese are always articulated and pushed forward at the forefront.
This is the first time it's been open to see the contribution of our Royal Highness, discussing or cooperating with the state legislature, with the state government, which is in trying to spell out what it needs in this kingdom. And I'm not saying the past Obas they've not been contributing one way or the other, but it has not been so open, it has not been so pronounced the way our present Oba has been discussing it openly. So that it's a discussion that which is an improvement to. It's just like an education, it's just like learning, to say the openness in which we're to be open to discuss whatever it needs in this kingdom, so that whoever is in that position will be aware that these are the areas, the community that it needs help.
Before now, many people in political governance cultivated the support and the friendship of the monarch, essentially to advance their political causes. But now what Omonoba has done, taking the leadership role, being proactive in calling for economic development, in calling for cultural revival or irredentism, is simply to say, Governor, all people, and I will now work together to make the state a better place than it had been. And one is saying quite simply, therefore, that the type of cooperation we are seeing now between the monarch and government is the essence of a state moving in the direction that will benefit all the members of the society, all the citizens of the state. They say charity begins at home. What Omonoba is inferring, quite simply, is that if you, the 7 LGAs in Edo South Senatorial District, are not united, then really it's going to be difficult to get every other person to toe the line with us. And if you look at it very carefully, really Take the Urobos, the Shekiris, even up to Angene in rivers, up to Onitsha. These are Benin people. There were times when they were citizens in Benin, spoke the same language. It is just time and distance that affected languages, and people are speaking different dialects. I mean, I'll give you the example of even a place as far as Ghana, the Unzimas. They are Edo people. I remember many years ago, as a young person, I was coming back from the US, and somebody was helpful to me in Accra, at that time, the station manager of British Caledonia. And he said he would help me find accommodation because we were sleeping over in Accra before going, leaving for Nigeria this next day. And then we got to this hotel and spoke to the porter there and followed us to the room they were giving me. And I thought I heard him say, Biewa, open it. And the fellow went to the window and opened the window. Oh my goodness. And I said, I can understand this language. The next thing was something like Woyaye, and which was like Woye to me. And the fellow was pointing and describing. I said, no, hold on, my friend. What are you really saying now? The first time you said so, I thought I heard you say, open the window. And he said, yes, that's what it is. And I said, then you are now asking for direction somewhere. He said, yes, that's the way I said it. He said it and I repeated it in Benin. And he said, why are you asking? Then you must be from Benin. I said, yes. Oh, he said, that's where we came from. Language just changed a little bit. That was in Ghana. So ultimately, really, if there is peace within the 7 LGAs, there is peace all over the old Bendel, through to Onitsha, the west to Eko in Lagos, through Benin Republic, through Togo up to Ghana, then the sub-region is the better for it. But you must start from somewhere. Charity begins at home.
I have to talk about women empowerment. It is very important. We have very young girls at home who needs to be, to be encouraged, to be empowered, and I believe that the partnership between the government and the palace will work very well, and not only the palace and the government, but we people, should work in conjunction with these parties, so that everything, will be strong as ever before. There are so many women that I know that would love to go home and be proud and, show what they have learned abroad and to bring it back home to the community.
His decision to partner with the governor and the state is something that we go further to emulate by other people, because it has never been done or practiced in our state before. So this time round, I'm sure this kind of idea is worthy of emulation by other people. And I very much appreciate what the Oba is doing for the state.
A chartered architect from Edo State, Oba Ewuare, has seen enough, and he brought out a piece saying Oba Eware's vision for Edo State is worthy of emulation. Oba Ewuare told Palace Watch that the unique approach of Oba Ewuare II in development issues around Edo State might not be too visible for now. But with time, Edo people will be grateful, for they have an Oba who has foresight. He said the swiftness with which the Oba unveiled his plans for the kingdom at the coronation ground is not only gratifying, but it gives hope that the great Benin kingdom would rise again.
His desire for economic revival of Edo State in general and the Benin kingdom in general in total. That is, he's not only just said, well, let us be culturally well renowned, but he has looked at the economic rejuvenation of the kingdom as a primary objective that will define his leadership. Oba Ewuare the first, the Edos call him Ewuare no Gidiga. In English, Ewuare the Great. He was an achiever, a mystic, some will say a magician, because he achieved everything he aspired to. Omonomba Ewuare II is already shown us that he will be as great as his antecedent. All you had to do was just listen to his coronation speech, and then you picture his aspiration for his kingdom, his objectives in terms of what he wants to achieve for his own people, and you will see that what he is doing is in parallel with Ewuare no Gidiga. And as time goes on, I'm sure every Benin person will say exactly the same as they said for Ewuare the first.
One of the things the royal father said was he's going to ensure that he brings development into the 7 local government areas that make up the Benin. But my take on that is, Daddy, I call you Daddy because you are a father. I'm an Nora man. I have great connection with the palace as an Nora man. And Oba Ewuare, the former, which is the great, was our forefather. And you are Oba Ewuare. So we have a connection, a strong connection with you. So I would appreciate if the development does not end with just the 7 local government area that makes up the Benin. It should extend to other local government areas. In fact, not just the Edo State. It should extend with the whole. Your impact should be felt by everywhere else that has anything to do or has connection to do with the palace. If I remember correctly, the Onitsha has something to do with the palace, with the Benin, the Ijos, the Isoko, Ishekiri. So the impact should be felt all across Nigeria.
On the 4th of December, Oba Ewuare was unequivocal when he said the actions of headsmen will be investigated in his kingdom. He wants to establish farms across Benin City with produce from those farms being sold to low-income earners at prices lower than the market rate.
These herdsmen, there is nowhere in the world where a government will support one particular, form of farming compared to the other. There is nowhere in the world where, one particular group is made enhanced compared to the other group. So we have not seen what the federal government has done for example, the yam farmers or those that rear rice or plant tomatoes. So what's so particular about the cattle rearers? They should be able to form ranches. In every developed part of the world, you'll find that cattle are reared in ranches. They do not have to move from place to place and destroy people's crops as they are doing now. And for the government to be so inclined to support the cattle rearer is what we cannot, understand unless there is an ulterior motive. That in terms of the generality of opinion of Nigerians, that these people should be made, to feed their cattle in ranches rather than moving them from one place to the other and disturbing them. There are trailers. You can transport cattle in trailers. They don't have to move them on foot.
Yeah, I'm very happy about the way the Oba has taken the herdsmen matter in Edo State, because at the moment they are becoming a kind of menace in the area, and the proposed meeting of the chiefs in order to discuss this herdsmen matter, I think I'm approve of it, because at the moment they go from from area to area, from town to town, causing havoc and disturbing the neighborhood. So recently in an area, Wohimi, in Edo State, the family people there reported that they have come to the area and disturbing. So the traditional rulers in that area are very much concerned about the whole situation, and they contacted some of our people, home and abroad. And I know the Oba will take something like that very seriously now that he's more concerned about the same thing entirely. So I'm quite approve of it, that we should do something about it so that the Edo State will remain in peace.
The problems associated with the herdsmen in Nigeria, we know, is both political as well as will I say economic, but probably also a cultural way of life. Well, and I think that we have to recognize that this is not a new phenomenon. I know that as far back as nearly 20 years ago, these herdsmen have been destroying crops and attacking people in parts of Edo North. I do recall vividly the incidences that occurred in areas like Anegbete and Co. and all of that were reported in the papers as far back as 1990 something and all that, in the late 90s. I remember this kind of story. So the menace of herdsmen is not new. It's been there. I think that is why I say that it's political. I think that is having the willingness to want to deal with them. And in this regard, I think that as an Edo son, I am immensely happy and proud that His Royal Majesty has come out to make a statement on it. And not just made a statement, has also made a royal decree, so to say, this is what I want to see in my kingdom.
On the 5th of December, General Yakubu Gowon, the ex-head of state of Nigeria, visited the Oba, and Oba Ewuare praised him for his leadership style, for being able to keep Nigeria together during a shaky time in our era. The Oba has shown here that he values togetherness, that he will be good for all tribes in this kingdom, and he will be fair in all his judgments.
The Oba's role in society is to bring unity and togetherness among his people and the kingdom. And the Oba of Benin is the Oba of Edo as a whole. And the Oba always aspire to unite the Edo together as one. Recently, when the former president of Nigeria, General Yakubu Gowon, visited him at the palace, this was mentioned. And because when the former head of state was in power, he was able to unite Nigeria as one and indivisible entity.
For all Edo citizens, whether from the Benin as Edo South unit or from any other part, I think that we should begin to look at ways of encouraging Oba Ewuare II to bring every unit of Edo land or Edo nation together. The role of where His Royal Majesty sits in the folklore and the history of Benin Kingdom, of Edo nation, is one that is unifying. And I think that if we were to prosper and be strong within a united Nigerian state, a donation across the length and breadth of Edo State should begin to be deliberately driven to see themselves as one. That is the whole concept of Edo Pamaki. That we are one people, one ancestry, one root. We may be spread out, but we are one. And this is one area where I will make a special plea to His Royal Majesty, that he should not limit his vision for the development and growth of Edo Nation to just the Benin unit. I personally see Oredo, the Benin unit, if I may say, as the ancestral home of Edo people. People from Onwa, people from Esanlan, people from Esako, and all that. There is no Edo person who is not able to trace their historical origin to Oredo or to Benin. There's none. That is what makes us so unique.
On the 14th of January 2017, the Oba expressed his support for traditional rulers to arrest headsmen for unwarranted activities across Nigeria. Oba Ewuare II has thrown his weight behind traditional rulers in Nigeria on how activities of Fulani headsmen across Nigeria can be curtailed. On the 20th of January 2017, the Oba supports the governor Godwin Obaseki as the Gele Gele Seaport Committee is inaugurated. The Oba, on his first official outing after the coronation, blessed the governor and told him, "You have my full support." For those people from Edo State, you must understand the Gele Gele is a big deal. It's what we've been waiting for. It's classed as a defining point to modern development in Edo State. And Oba Ewuare and Godwin Obaseki has managed to come together to inaugurate a committee to see this process at least get off the ground.
The idea of developing the Gele Gele port as an export processing zone, I think that is a welcome development, apart from the physical development in the area and the economic development in the area. I think it will also be a multiplying effect in terms of having to raise prosperity and progress in that part of the world. It will open up an avenue to be able to link up to the east and the west, and it will help to position Edo State as an economic hub in that part of the country. I think is a very, very welcome development.
Now, if you have been to Calabar, you will see what the type of thing they have in mind. If I say if accomplished, within the shortest possible time, that is an export processing free zone is created, it will be not only the benefit of Edo people, but to the east, and even to the west, everybody will benefit from that export free zone. So I'm very hopeful that if they pursue it vigorously, especially when the government of the Federal Republic is trying to ensure we export other things apart from crude oil to increase the earning, of foreign currency, then that is a good project, to pursue to its logical conclusion.
The development of Gele Gele Seaport would create more job opportunities and would help the state in reabsorbing those unemployed. And I'm very happy that the Oba is fully approved of it, and the support from the Oba Ewuare II is something that I really appreciate in that manner. And I'm sure that will go a long way for the people of Edo State, because any development in that port would mean the creation of job opportunities for people, especially the youths and the other people of the state. And I'm quite appreciate the effort of the governor and the Oba. And I know they will do more to take it further to make sure it become a huge success for the state.
Gili Gili Port is not an accident. It is a historical place of existence. It was the place where seafaring and sea trade and all that took place in the past in our history. In fact, it's the port where through which the people who invaded Edo land came through. So it's always existed. The point is developing it into a modern center of economic trade in a modern Edo land. That is what we are focused on, isn't it? And I think that having the traditional institution as represented by His Royal Majesty Oba Ewuare II and the Governor Obaseki agreeing and having the same mindset and thoughts about the development of this port as a base of economic development. I think that it is important, it is significant, and it is something that is worthy of our praise and the support of all patriotic Edo citizens. That foundation has to be established. Now, is it the first time we are having this kind of unity of purpose amongst Edo leaders, both from the traditional side and from the political side? Well, during the Ogbomudia time, I believe definitely there was between the leadership at the time. But I think that in our modern democratic experience, it is significant that we are seeing a clear, open agreement for the political leadership and our traditional leadership to work together.
Omanoba's father approved the installation of an Odianwe in the United Kingdom and Ireland. And Omanoba himself has traveled widely. He's an international person. He worked in many communities, interacted with Edo people in the diaspora. And for those reasons, he's very conversant with, and he himself was in the diaspora for many years. For those reasons, he's very much aware of the possibilities of Edo people in the diaspora, the opportunity for them to contribute to development in Nigeria. We have to do our very best and say we are on the same page with you, our father. We cannot ask Omanoba to carry it all alone. He needs us to do as he has proactively shown the light and shown the way. We must rally round him and do the very best we can. In the diaspora, many of us recognize that we have a new chapter to take advantage of and make our kingdom, our state, and our country even better than it is. And we're on the 20th of October 2016 awoken to the fact that this is a new era where discipline is of the utmost requirement, a new era where our failings will not be looked at and condoned. For many of us who unfortunately have not had the opportunity to be true Edo people, many can hardly speak the language. In my generation, we learned to write and read Edo. Today, the younger ones can hardly speak. How much less likely write and probably impossibly read the language.
Children are suffering. We've seen on the news how little ones are being used, grooming, to become something that they are not. So we as women, we should be able to do something. We should be able to go to the villages, the towns, to encourage, to empower parents how to take care of their children. It's not only the government. It's not only from the palace. The responsibility should be coming from. It should be from everyone, every home. We should be responsible parents, responsible brothers, responsible sisters, responsible uncles, responsible aunties. We are born to be like that. Let our pride as Benin come back to come back again, because being a Benin is so blessed, because we have got a very, very rich culture. There are so many women who will want to come home freely, not being afraid to help the community. Charities, advice, support is all needed at home. We are all brothers and sisters, and we should help the Oba, the government, and every individual should have part to play to bring the Edo to the highest standard that we are born with.
We are known to be a state for art, culture, and hospitality. And the artifact we've heard about that being coming back home. People are talking about we need to bring them back home. My take on that is we need to do something about it back home. We need to have evidence of that back home. We need to have a big cultural festival back home that will draw in tourists into our country, into our state. We can make money there. The bronze, we can do a lot of stuff with the bronze. We can create other stuff with the bronze that would make people to come and want to see how we do it. These are the area where I want us to focus on. We have we are known all over the world. If you go to British Museum, you see it there. So people will want to see where this craft come from. I want us to, beam light on that area. I heard that you made a pronouncement that houses should not be sold in Good Street. Yes, I like that. But I want much more. Much more in the sense that what's wrong if we build something like that looks like Eiffel Tower with the bronze? What's wrong with that? What's wrong if you build a house, a castle with the bronze? What's wrong with that? We need to beam light into that which you have comparative advantage over, that art and culture.
We in the diaspora were particularly happy with the Oba of Benin, with what he's doing. We pray and wish him a successful reign, and we're also doing everything we can to support his visions. Only last week at Benin Union, we met at Benin Union and decided that we're going to set up a dual language program here in the United Kingdom, and that language program is being accredited to a national GCSE and A-level standard. We've started that process, and that came about because he has put the Benin language development at the forefront of his agenda, and that is something that we quite welcome. We want to be able to liaise effectively with the palace, and as a father, a son should be able to reach his father whenever the needs arises. And we appreciate if the palace can from time to time, like they've always done, communicate through our leaders here. We have Odionwe here in the persons of a Warrior, who is also somebody very close to the palace and who has been the spiritual head and the traditional head of the Benin here in United Kingdom. Odionwe Atokwe is, and above all, we would like to be able to open a channels of communication with the Odionwe Council, with all the other groups, including Edo Global, Edo National Association, so that we can then help to channel our skills to develop Edo State.
Edo in the diaspora must now do everything possible, not only to publicize the opportunities which now are available to them, but to mobilize all members out of Benin to return and make their own contributions. Even if it's just to build a house, it's made it clear nobody has the right to task you, to deny your workers access, or to deny you the opportunity of making your contribution. Of course, those who can afford to do it and have the resources, that assurance even makes it easy for them to return home and invest.
On the 22nd of January 2017, the Oba and the governor criminalizes the actions of community development associations. This is total wrap for CDAs in Edo State.
It's good that we, the Edo State people, should support the Oba and the governor of the state, especially now that we're trying to rebuild so many things in the state. So we need the cooperation of the governor and the Oba, which now they are embarked upon that. But we the people also have to cooperate in every area possible to make sure things are working for the governor, so that all the programs will be well carried out to the satisfaction of the Edo people.
It is my prayer that just like Oba Ewuare, the first, the person, the Oba that he took he has taken his title after. My prayer is that his reign will witness the renaissance of Edo Kingdom into a unified, prosperous, and dignified nation state within the Nigerian state. Okay, we are a people that have a long history, a proud history, that over the time have become broken and fragmented. And rather than seeing ourselves as brethren, we are seeing a situation where we are at each other's throat. As a member of Edo Kwamaki, it is our vision, our hunger, our desire to see Edo people become one united people again. My prayer is that God will use His Royal Majesty Oba Ewuare II as his instrument to bring about this unity of purpose. May God bless him. I mean, I am so looking at the videos and the stories all surrounding his coronation. I am immensely proud to be an Edo son.
What we will do in the diaspora, as I said earlier, is that we must take the lesson Omonumba has given us and go out to mobilize our people, elicit their support, and get them to be foot soldiers for Omonumba Nedu, Ukwakulopolo, Oba Ewuare, Tobarato, Tobarakbe. He said,
all over the world, Edos have stood up. What was evident was that we needed a change in Edo State, but very few of us thought the change catalyst we needed, personally, nationally, and internationally, would have come from the Oba's palace. Long live the king, Oba Atokwe, he said.